M-Balm effect. What's up, bro?
Yeah, it's the M-Balm effect over here, as you can see on the screen.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
uh I figured I kind of shoot it at the gate just from the start and be like, hey, I just want this to be pretty chill and pretty like no expectations going into it. Um, but I'd hope that you'd feel very comfortable and very welcome and seen and heard. And let's kind of talk about whatever it is you would like to talk about. You're pretty from what I've checked out. Your podcast is pretty like pretty talk heavy.
Yeah.
It's pretty talk and topic heavy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it can get heavy.
so I figured I figured we could just kind of because eventually when we were talking about doing some kind of any kind of collaboration at all, I figured I'd have you on here and we talk about it. But let's pretend, let's start out, let's do something different and pretend from the start that this is your show and you're chatting with me about the stuff you'd chat about with your guests.
All right. Yeah. I'm open to anything, man. I'm just I'm here for the good times, My wife asked me where I want to go for dinner or whatever. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just along for the ride. I'm here for the good times. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter to me. Always
Did
having
you
a good time.
did you watch the AEW pay-per-view this weekend?
Sadly, I did not. I know, and we were hanging out with the in-laws, and I wanted to get it, but I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think All Elite needs to get an elite streaming service. I think Bleacher Report really sucks. I think Fight TV would be the way to go all around the board instead of just outside the U.S. Because the last time I actually paid $50 for one of their pay-per-views, I had the worst experience. I was at my parents' house. We were gonna watch it, and like half the screen was showing, and I'm like, well, what the hell, man? I'm supposed to I want to see it. I want to see full screen,
Yeah.
and I had to go and circle jerk around. I had to go grab a laptop. My mom actually had to go grab her laptop. I had to go on there, and that thing was slow as hell. So, hop, skip, and a jump later, we were able to watch Revolution. I believe it was called, right? Revolution, was it? So
That's one of
yeah,
the pay-per-views that they have.
yeah.
So
So
is there a high demand for like call out from AEW fans for this kind of thing happening? Like, is it something that a lot of people have reported?
you know, uh, yeah, I actually jumped on Twitter at that point in time, and people were complaining then. And then this past weekend, when AEW was on with the latest pay per view, definitely heard some things from friends. Actually, my buddy Jerry Motions, he was watching it, or no, he said there was a lot of people complaining about it, and I'm just like, yep. This is not good. Not good, AEW. You have solid PPVs, but you don't have streaming services.
It's the funny thing is it's like you have the people who are willing to put the money down
Right.
on this. People are committed enough to the intellectual property to spend money
Right.
when like let's let's be reliable all across the board on that.
You'd think, right? I mean, these are a multi-billion-dollar company, and they just some reason just cannot get it right with the stream. I don't know what it is about Bleacher Report, why they have a hold on the balls, so to speak. They like got them by their balls for America, and I'm just like, can we just get the Fight TV? That's the one that everybody wants. It works in Europe and all that, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it in the first idea, saying that they need their own sort of service for that.
Yeah,
Like, if it's just like, if you're going to be getting the pay per view anyway, why can't you just get it? Is it now? Is it also? I mean, forgive me for not knowing, but can you also buy it through your pay per view like outlet from your house? Like,
I think so. And we have Spectrum here. They merged with, I think it was Comcast and Time Warner a couple of years ago. And I think you can get it through the cable provider. But for me, it's like I would rather just like with WWE for example, you can just get Peacock and you can watch WrestleMania, Backlash, all that stuff. And AEW, it's like it's complete like you gotta bend over backwards just to get a pay per view on your TV. So I don't know. It's interesting to see what they'll do.
I hope they figure it out. I think that if there's enough, well, you know what's funny, man? It's like the wrestling business hasn't had such a fall, like hasn't had such a far fall from like viewership.
Right.
It's like right now would be the time where you'd want to like hook new fans in, and having an unreliable source
Yeah.
to get your products that over deliver.
Yeah.
Like the pay-per-views are always something people are really happy to spend money on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a
Especially all elite
reliable
wrestling.
source will be important.
Well, let's see I want to see them come out with their own like network or something, and with WWE that kind of went down the drain, didn't it? They sold it to Peacock, and I think only it's in the United States where you can get like through Peacock. But I think the WWE network still exists outside of the United States. But with that being said, all elite wrestling should just go their own separate route and just get their own standalone service.
Well, like
Why not?
that has like Ring of Honor on it because it's owned by the same place now.
Right. Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor, which honestly that was eye opening, and I actually want to see him do more with that. I mean, why not have a whole library of all the old stuff? I'm talking like CM Punk winning the Ring of Honor championship and then completely crapping on it, and then just signing the WWE contract on the belt, like stuff like that. That's been cataloged. You can air this on your own streaming service. You own the rights to this now, so I would love to see that happen. I'm pretty sure it's down the pipeline. I'm not sure. I'm hoping to see that.
That would be interesting to see. I would really like to see it. I mean, I would definitely pay for it. I would pay to support that platform starting.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, I'm a like a real fan. I think that that's something that wrestling doesn't have as much of these days.
Real
It,
fans?
it does, but then like it doesn't. It's strange because like the numbers used to be like 3 or 4 million people watched it on in the week,
Right.
or like even more than that, and now it's like less than a million are watching it, and it's bizarre.
It is bizarre. Is this a clean or dirty show? Can I drop an F bomb?
What's an F bomb?
You know,
No, go ahead, say whatever you want to say, man.
what the fuck is going on with the wrestling fan community? I mean, so I'm pretty sure you're aware, but apparently Tay Conti, Sammy Guevara having death threats, and then of course before that, Alexa Bliss having some death threats. I mean, I understand some people can be passionate about this whole thing, but like, come on, man. Are you kidding me?
I had not heard those pieces of news. So
Yeah.
Sammy
It's
Guevara and Tay Conti are getting death threats on them.
Yeah, so some lunatic psychopath on Twitter, because that's where all the fucking lunatics are on Twitter. They eat, sleep, shit Twitter. Um, apparently he's upset because they're dating, and something along the lines of he's going to kill Sammy Guevara, then kill himself because he wants Tay, and he's obsessed with her, and he's like you ruined our future together, and she's gonna be mine. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here, homie? I'm like, it's still real to him, damn it.
The,
Like,
the delusions that exist in the mind of incels
yeah,
sometimes.
I like that
And
word you use because it's true. There are incels. Yes.
right, it's it's very much like, yes, sure, what the f is wrong with the wrestling fans in the community, but like there's just there's just garbage people in every type of subcategory there is.
Yeah.
There's gonna be pieces of shit.
It's unfortunate, man. Like the wrestling community can get some bad shit, like bad raps on certain things already, but then you got this crap going on. People complaining about, AEW hiring all the old WWE washouts. It's like, okay, well, okay, if you're an AEW fan, which I am, I think AEW is pretty damn good. I don't see that being completely true. I mean, of course, if you didn't watch the pay-per-view, I'm sure you watched the pay-per-view, right? Yeah, CM Punk winning the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. That was incredible.
That was the right choice. That was the right move. I think that match wasn't either one of the guys' best matches. Like
No,
for
probably not.
sure. For
I've seen
sure.
highlights.
Like Hangman's first match against Daniel Bryan was
Yeah.
probably the best, the 30-minute one. That was probably
Yes.
the best match that he had as champion. Uh, the it just felt like, and I like Hangman, so like don't take this as me bashing him, but it feels like them giving him the title feels to me the same way it does to go like to go work for a promoter, and the promoter's like, oh well, I promised this guy I was going to give him the belt, so I have to give it to him.
Yeah, I know I'm not going to be. I know I probably don't have the most popular opinion, but I'm just not sold on Hangman yet. I don't think it was the proper time, so to speak. I think his chase for the title was better than his reign. So, you know what I mean? Like it just there was more to it. And then after he got the title and all that, it's like, okay, flatline and that's it. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's had a couple decent matches, but it's like, I mean, with Rex, for instance, that hardcore match they had was freaking insane. But I don't know.
Rex, who
Was his name Tyler Rex, or is it? I don't know. I'm getting lost because some.
are you talking about? You're talking about with
He
the
was Vance Archer at one point in
Lance
WWE.
Hoyt,
Lance, yeah, I don't know. I get
the
mixed up with
murder
names.
hawk monster. Well,
Murder Hawk. Yeah.
that Tyson Rex or Tyrone Rex or whatever the freaking person's name was that was in WWE. It was just some like TV enhancement talent jobber dude. He was like insanely ripped and had like dreadlocks.
Yeah, yeah.
And he
Maybe
was
that's
like
why I got confused with him. Yeah.
super fake tan. And then that person has now transitioned to a female
Oh,
recently. So I mean, if you I don't know what her name is now, but I'm gonna
does she still
say
wrestle?
no.
Oh,
I'm also I at least I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm not the authority on what Tyson Rex or Tyler Rex or whatever the interchangeable job ass generic wrestling name that this person has. I've just to say I did extra work in WWE in 2009.
okay.
Everybody was nice to me except for that person. So fuck you. You're not a nice person either way.
Oh, really? They were a piece of junk?
Oh yeah.
Jesus
Like
Christ, man.
the screamed in the like. Okay, before you go there,
Yeah,
everybody tells you be careful with everything you do because somebody's always watching you.
right.
Somebody's always watching you. And I saw a friend of mine. I just said hi to my friend, and then I said hi to him like 2 seconds later, and then I like walked away to the other side of like this loading dock was,
Yeah.
and the guy screams out, "Don't quit your day job!"
What?
Like don't quit your day job at me, and I was like, "Is anybody watching that? Is anybody watching?" But yes,
God damn.
asshole.
So with that, I mean, I just want I'm interested to see, like, you worked backstage, right? So you did some things backstage.
Yes.
Who did you meet? And did they suck? Were they nice? I mean, like CM Punk, did you meet him?
CM Punk, I had met him on the Indies back in 2003.
Okay.
And of course, he didn't remember me because I was a little kid when he met me the first time.
Right.
But when I met him in WWE in 2009, he was super nice to me, and he like really went out of his way to come and talk to me and thank me for being there. And
That's awesome.
really, same with Johnny Nitro went way
Oh,
out of his way. Um, Big Show, Kane, all
dude,
went
those,
really out of their way to be extra nice. And
what about
who had
Taker?
I mean, I think whatever it was, the only thing I caught Taker was like when he went to go do like we were all because it was in DC, the one show.
Okay.
So the one show we did was in DC, and you had to have like a physical before, and you had to have like a DC wrestling license,
Yeah.
and we had to like show this doctor the DC wrestling license, and whatever it was, he just like came in from eating or something. So he was like, I can't tell you what my weight is because I just full up. But then like he was like maybe I would say he was maybe the one I was like the most like starstruck over.
Yeah.
Like just from like just from like the seeing from a distance, not even like up close, because I didn't freak out and go ah, but in the back of my head I was doing there it is. But
Yeah.
but but when I was in the ring, sitting at the commentator table,
Yeah.
and this is I don't know if I've ever told these stories publicly, but here I am at the commentary table. There was John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Michael Cole, and I was in the ring like doing stuff with Shad, Chad Gaspard,
R.I.P. man.
and
Jeez.
Yoshitatsu.
I
Remember
remember him.
Yoshitatsu
I
and
do. I remember him. He was cool. I liked
and
him.
and Jamie Noble. Jamie Noble like gave me like a swift kick in my leg and was like, "Don't sell it." And I'm like, "But it hurt." Like,
Don't sell this, but it hurts.
it's like, "Yeah, just don't sell it." And I was like,
You gotta embrace the hurt.
and then he went to wrap me up in some weird submission, and his boot hit me right
Oh,
across my eye. So I was walking around with a big old ouchie.
ouchies.
But
Yeah, man.
it was
CM Punk and Undertaker match at WrestleMania 2013.
oh yeah, there you go. That's a great shirt.
Yeah, man. That was one of my favorite Undertaker matches. I know that maybe not everybody liked that match, but I thought it was pretty damn good.
I thought the build with Paul Heyman as Paul Bearer with the urn and the ashes. What a way to build a match with
Yeah,
to make it
heel
look like
CM Punk, man.
somebody it might beat Undertaker.
Right. No,
They
exactly.
that built the draw of what that Undertaker match at that WrestleMania was.
Yeah, the
And
mind games with the dead man from CM Punk. It was like a legitimate, like, okay, he had a threat to end the streak. And of course, as we all know, Undertaker wins that match.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts? And I know everybody's going to say the same thing usually, but what's your thoughts on Brock Lesnar taking the streak away from The Undertaker?
If anyone in the world would have done it, it had to be Brock Lesnar.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it was the move. Like who else but Brock Lesnar could break that streak?
I know
And
people were saying that Roman Reigns should have been the one.
potato.
It's the same, right? Same but different. Do they
Same
really need to push? No. But are they legitimate, opponents to end the streak? Absolutely.
like Roman now, not force-fed babyface Roman.
No,
That
now.
no. But
Heel.
Roman now,
Yes.
heel Roman now, surely break the streaks.
Yes.
Uh, but when it came to his match against Taker at WrestleMania,
That was
that that doesn't measure up to the impact of Brock Lesnar beating Undertaker and ending the streak.
no. I actually thought it was a bad idea that Roman would go over Undertaker at that WrestleMania because, like, I don't know, it kind of defeats the whole like streak being broken in a
Mhm.
sense. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I think differently. I just think that, like you said, Roman then it's not. I wouldn't say believable, right? I don't know. Just you still new, kind of.
Yeah, like he was like I want to say I'm a huge fan of Roman from the start. Like he's never had a bad match as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen him and been like he's bad. Never once. I thought Roman was good this whole entire time.
Yeah,
Uh, but now, but now, this Roman is what they should have allowed him to be 10 years ago.
absolutely. Not the watered down, still having the Shield music, still wearing Shield clothes, coming out with cheesy lines that they wrote for them because the writers don't know how to write shit. Now he can make up anything he wants, and he does a great job doing
Yeah, we acknowledge the suffering succotash.
it.
Acknowledge the suffering succotash.
Dude, I love it, man. I think this is the Roman Reigns that everybody wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, and I guess now his reign is kind of because he's like however long he is Universal Champion and now Universal and World
WWE
WWE Champion, whatever they just united them or what is the unified them
unified them. So now it's
and
the undisputed championship, I'm guessing. Like that
yeah,
in their eyes. Yeah.
undisputed Universal Champion of the world,
Yeah.
the universe and the world.
I miss the old undisputed title belt. Like that design was the best one they had, in my opinion.
What
And
what name do you automatically associate that with?
Undertaker, Big
Undertaker.
Evil, 2002, beating RVD's ass for coming out before him because he disrespected him. Like those are the good times, man. Like the ruthless aggression era. I mean, I know everybody loves the Attitude Era. Don't get me wrong, it was a great era, but the ruthless aggression era had some very memorable moments, and I absolutely fucking miss it. I really do.
How old are you?
I'm 31.
Okay, I thought we had that conversation. I thought we had that discussion. I was trying to think of like when was your first like all right, this business has its hooks on me and I'm for sure a fan forever now.
Oh god, the 90s. My dad was huge. He would watch WCW Monday Nitro, then Raw would be on, and it's just like going back and forth. Stone Cold's kicking Vince McMahon's ass on Raw. WCW got the NWO taking over everything, and then of course the Polka Doom and all that shit. So I absolutely loved. I fell in love with wrestling, and I was like, man, this is a great thing to just watch, and just the stories that were told inside and outside the ring and all that stuff, the characters. So that just drew me to the whole wrestling industry, just watching it. But yeah, it's had its hooks on me for a very long time.
What are if you had to show five matches to somebody who was not a wrestling fan at all to try to convert them into a wrestling fan, what would those matches be?
First one right off the bat, Jeff Hardy versus The Undertaker for the undisputed title, Monday Night Raw, 2002, back in that July. That was one of my favorite ones of all time. Very memorable, actually. Then of course, let's see. There's a lot of different matches. Oh Jesus. Oh man, 2002 and 2003 had some really good matches. Oh god. What else would there be? Hardcore matches. I love hardcore matches. Those were cool. You had Mick Foley going through the Edge and Mick Foley at the WrestleMania, the fire tape, the table with the fire and all that. That was pretty.
25.
Yeah, I think it was 25. Yeah, so
Mhm.
that was a good match. Are we talking on WWE, AEW, outside?
Everywhere, anywhere.
And Terry Funk, Mick Foley in that death match that they had, the explosives and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty dope. I mean,
All right.
stuff like that. God, Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 21. Can't go wrong with that. I'm sorry, that was 19. My bad. WrestleMania 19. Still can't believe he got concussed after that shooting star press, man.
That was scary. Yeah,
Big man like him, man.
I remember watching that when it happened to me. Like, I hope he's gonna be okay.
Right. And I gotta include something more recent. I would say CM Punk versus MJF.
Dude, they had. I was watching Double or Nothing with my girlfriend the other day. Just I think the buy-in was when she was over, the buy-in was on, and we were watching that, and
Okay.
the footage of Punk in the collar with the blood. She's like, It's all real blood. It's
Yeah.
like, yep. And it's just. She's like, how about that?
The story, and ever since like, and then, but even before CM Punk even was on scene in the AEW realm, MJF just always reminded me of old school heel CM Punk. I'm better than you. Just the promos he cuts, all that stuff. Just it really rang out to me like that's what CM Punk used to be when he was up and coming in his 20s. And so when CM Punk came on to Rampage and all that for the first time, I'm like, finally, it can finally happen. These two, awesome storytellers, both really good in the ring. I'm like, all right, let's make it happen. So when they finally started having these two do a program together, I was like, this is where it's gonna happen. This is what's gonna be like one of the most the dream match is actually coming true. So that was a really good match when they actually had that match. And yeah, it was pretty fucking bloody, wasn't it?
Do you keep up on like dirt sheets and internet rumors on pro wrestling? Like for sure, when I was a kid, I really did. When I was a kid, I really always read the dirt sheets and I wanted to always know all that information. I used to call, and this is pre-podcasts. This was podcasts to me. I would call these free like recorded hotlines and they would be like, "Oh, this week on the wrestling rumor mill, blah 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 blah." Like this was this was what podcasts were to me. It was calling these free recorded lines when they were talking about wrestling news.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I used to. They had backstage wrestling and all that, and I know WrestleZone's still up, but I stopped doing it. First of all, I try to avoid spoilers as much as possible because I want to be surprised. There's always, you got somebody out there, they come out like, oh, so and so's coming to AEW, or they're making the return, or Legends coming out of retirement. I'm just like, I would rather be surprised like I was back in the day before all this nonsense. I mean,
Well,
don't get me
I,
wrong, it's still nice to have there, but
I kind of have a different approach to spoilers and stuff, and anybody who listens to my show will have heard me tell this story a million times. But like I've been in the spoiler business since I was a teenager. You know what I
okay.
mean? Like I would walk into a locker room at a wrestling show and see the lineup and see who was underlined and see how much time they had. So I knew that the matches were only going to last this long, and this person was winning that person. And I knew all that before it ever even happened. So it's not like I would know that information and then not still go be entertained by watching those matches happen live.
True.
So I'd rather like if I hear about something or if I see a spoiler on something, I'm still going to see it. I'm still going to enjoy it for what it is, and especially now that I can recognize the art form of it and the mechanics of it and the techniques more now as being somebody who's been on this side of the barricade versus the fan side of the barricade for a good amount of my life.
Yeah. Okay, no, I understand that. Um, yeah, I mean, I haven't been on that side, which, in some aspect I wish I was.
Mhm.
But it's really nice as a fan's perspective just to like be surprised. And like when Edge came back and all that during that Royal Rumble, I'm like, holy shit, he's actually back.
Yeah.
I've heard rumblings around the dirt sheets and all that, like, oh,
You
he's
heard
coming out.
you heard royal rumblings?
Yeah, royal rumblings, stomach rumblings, all that stuff, especially when you eat bad Chinese or something like that. It's not a good thing. But when Edge came out, it was a great thing. It was explosive, just like it was in the toilet.
Dude, did you watch his face in
Oh
that?
yeah,
His face told the entire story. Like, you're watching it and you, like, see him get right to the end of, like, him doing this side, and then coming to the back and going, "Oh, shit. Oh,
yeah,
shit. I'm about to have an emotional dump if I don't take control here." Like,
yeah.
you saw him look like, "Oh god, I'm gonna cry right now."
You
Oh.
wanted to, you
Yeah,
did.
yeah, for sure, for sure. You felt that, uh, and that's something not not even just not a lot of people. Most people have no idea what it's like to experience something like that. Like to well, not saying most people, nobody knows.
Right.
Nobody knows at all what it's like to go through what he went through and be able
Right.
to come back. He didn't financially, he doesn't have to do it.
No, he's set. He's
Right.
good.
It's in it becomes like so inside of who you are, and it becomes like it like wraps up what your identity is, and it's like, and I think at a certain point when it comes to me at least, uh, the many times I try to step away from it, I don't want to say many times. I would say, all through what 2018, I tried to step away from it. Uh, I just, I was like, this is who I am, and this is what I know, and this is like, I don't, I don't see me not doing this. Like,
Right.
I don't see me being me if I'm not doing all of the things that have made me who I am and getting better at those things.
Right.
And the only way I can get better is if I'm learning and teaching at the same time. So
Yeah.
can if I can work with somebody and teach them a new way of looking at things or showing them how, and it sounds like it's some sort of arrogance, but like, this is, let me say, I've earned some of this.
No,
So
I
I-
understand.
I'm talking myself off of a non-humble place. But if I can work with somebody and teach them a way of doing something they never do, then I can have in my moment, be like, see, that's how you do it. See, ah, like when you get trained to do this line of work, when you
Yeah.
get trained to be a wrestler, you get taught how to do the stuff, but you don't get taught everything. Everything that you learn on your own, and you learn the most by doing. I'd say that I learn more from being out on the very independent level, um, by myself, without my trainers teaching me that. I had to learn all that on my own, and that's what I want to kind of pass that through me if I can when I get into matches with somebody. And I've been making the joke for a really long time. It's like, I'm the guy that teaches you how to be over so you can go be over in on the big shows and forget my
Yeah.
number. Like, that's whatever, dude. If that's my contribution to what the business is, at
Yeah.
least at least um at least I'll know. At least I will know. It's not like I need your blessings or your shout outs or whatever, because I'm still out here beating my drum.
Yeah.
Beating my drum.
So, what's you having a goal? Like, do you have a company you would want to shoot for at the end of the day?
Um, it's strange, man, because I just um I I want to be able to wrestle and make a living off of it. I would like that to be what happens eventually. If
Yeah.
not, be a part of the business where I can make money from my knowledge from the business.
Right.
And I don't think it'll be the WWE.
Doesn't seem like it's the place to go anymore. I don't know if it's, I don't know much about the backstage ins and outs and of it, but from all the grumblings that have happened over the years with, people, talent leaving there and going to AEW or just on the independent scene, and then just completely talking to, I mean, look at Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. I don't know
Mhm.
what's happening there. Like, that's one thing about the dirt sheets I do like to read. Like, something like that happens, I want to know more about. Like, okay, they just up and left, dropped their titles on the desk of John Laurinaitis and said, "Hey, peace out of here, home fry." Like, that's what they did. Like, I don't know. But then again, can you believe everything that the company says when it happens? Like, apparently, so what they said was they did it during the show, but then there was other sources saying that they did it before the show even started. I don't know. It's up in the air. So whatever happens, happens, I guess, with that. But I
I,
know
I,
that they're on bad terms.
I mean, I'm kind of when it comes to that sort of thing, I'm sort of right in the middle on that one.
Yeah,
Um, I'm sort of right in the middle on that one because there's no denying that Sasha Banks is a once in a generation talent. That type of people don't come around. She just
true.
headlined WrestleMania. She she saw this decision as something that wasn't going to be benefiting her career
Or
or her
or Bill.
partner's career.
Yeah,
So she made a decision or she expressed how she felt, and
right.
people were automatically being defensive and being like, hey, you don't have a problem when you're winning, so automatically invalidating the fact that like she was unhappy with the direction they were trying to take her in.
Right.
That's like this person isn't somebody who like you just can plug and play and go. Like this is
Right.
somebody who, because of who they are, made all these moves go the way they went.
Yeah. Well, they're
So
ambitious. They want to wrestle. It's like when people are like, "Well, they're getting paid. If they're not getting used, they're sitting home getting paid." It's like, but that's not the point. And you know, you're a professional wrestler. You know, you want to get in the ring. You don't
yeah.
want to just sit home and collect the paycheck. What good is
Um,
that, right?
dude, if somebody was gonna give me a paycheck to sit at home,
I mean, no, I understand that part, but like, you know, this is a desire to do like to 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 do your craft, you
no,
know,
for sure.
and
I mean,
you know,
when when I think about it, and I go like, I in okay, so I got into wrestling. My first time I ever stepped into a wrestling ring was 1998, and I
okay,
was 14 years old. Uh, and now 23 years later, I've never made a living off of wrestling. I've never I've never gotten checks that could pay all my bills. I've never gotten good paydays. Like I don't I I would like at some point to have my contributions uh, lend towards me uh, getting an opportunity to to take the ball and run with it, and someone can believe me when I do it.
right,
And um, it seems like it all is breakout moments on anything. Everything is the right person, the right place, the right time, and everybody who's ever got any opportunities. I don't want to compare myself to them because they all are different.
right,
None of them are me. No podcaster is me, no pro wrestler is me, no stand-up comedian is me. That's all that's all this guy.
yeah,
Nobody else can be that. Just like nobody else can be you.
right,
And I'm I have to it's a strange thing because I get myself on both sides of it. I get myself in the like dig myself out of like feeling sorry for myself, shit, being the victim to uh beating my body up, taking so many bumps for
yeah,
so many years and having nothing to show for it monetarily. Monetarily having nothing to show for it. Uh as far as experience points, fuck yeah, I've got tons of experience points. I've had so many good life lessons taught to me through the wrestling business. Almost everything I am and everybody I know, everything anybody can ever learn from me has something to do with how I might be able to relate back to a lesson I learned through this industry.
yeah. You know, it always
Whether it
bothers
was,
me. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, whether it was being on this side of the barricade or being on this side of the TV screen
Yeah,
and just watching it. Being a wrestling fan has taught me so much stuff. Like tons of like world stuff I wouldn't have even known. I wouldn't have even known some of the stuff if it had not been for like uh, wrestlers with those gimmicks in the WWF when I was a kid or in WCW when I was a kid.
right.
So so uh, it's so easily so easily invalidated by going like, "Oh, don't you know that stuff's fake?" I'm like, bro, if that's what you're focusing on right now, like
Right.
you gotta go check out what you're watching, man.
Yeah, like this new
We got
fucking movie that came out, Top Gun. It's like you tell all those people that go stand in line waiting for their tickets, be like, hey, you know that movie's fake, right? They're not really flying planes and killing each other, right?
they're not flying no planes flown.
But they're still watching the fucking movie and they don't care. You could tell them it's a fake movie all you want, and they're still gonna be like, well, it's a fucking good movie. Well, what about wrestling? What's the difference?
I think the difference is that I think that some sort of stigma existed that people had to grow out of being a wrestling fan. Like somehow that's for children,
No.
and and a lot of people just buckled to that pressure, and
Man.
they missed out.
Yeah, no, that's a shitty mindset. Like, oh, it's for kids. Now, granted, after Chris Benoit and all that stuff, WWE did kind of go down the childish PG era. Don't get me wrong, that still bothers me to this day. John Cena was basically playing the part of Barney, and I just was not having it.
Bro,
But
how cool would it be? Honestly, picture this in your head when I say it.
I already
How
think I
cool
know where this is going.
how cool would it be if Hangman Page started wearing jorts and sneakers and
Yo,
bright neon colors?
could you imagine? Copyright. That motherfucker's stolen valor of John Cena. Oh
If
man.
because I feel like it 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 connects with more people because more people can have fun
Right.
with
Yeah.
John Cena. More people with the cowboy thing. Cool, it's got the prestige of cowboys in wrestling for as long as cowboys have been in wrestling.
Right.
But
Bob Orton.
like, bro, you're too handsome.
Yeah, when you think of cowboys in
Yeah,
wrestling, you think of Bob Orton.
like big ugly bruisers. And
Yeah, like not long hair blonde guys, that are handsome and just you know what I mean? Like it's yeah, like you said, it's just no.
It's
Doesn't
it's
work
just
that way.
hard to relate to. That's why I said like the way that John Cena related. Like no little kid can look at John Cena and be like, I can get abs like that. My pecs can be that big. They'd be like, yeah, I got jorts like that, and I wear
Right.
sneakers.
Armbands and shit. Yeah, I could do that.
I could buy one of those shirts for $21 or however
Or
much they are, $25.
as a child, you look up to Undertaker and go, "Yeah, I could get buried alive and wear a hat like that and some long ass trench coat and come out slow and grow to be 7 feet tall."
Yeah, that seems more logical
Well,
than
yeah,
being a Virginia cowboy.
yeah, exactly. It's more realistic, right? I mean, that makes more sense. You know what? I'm waiting for the day. I don't know if it's ever happened in wrestling at all, but what about the Amish? I mean, how come the Amish has never been portrayed
Oh yeah,
on
dude, didn't you
screen?
see Roadkill in ECW? Did you watch ECW?
Not too much. I wish I mean, I've watched it on YouTube and all that, but like when it was on, I did not. That was something that I didn't get to watch.
Okay. Well, I think as far as like being the age being the age that I am and coming through being a wrestling fan and living in Philadelphia, being a ECW fan was just kind of a sort of built-in thing. But they had a character who was in a tag team with Danny Doring, and his name was Amish Roadkill, and he was the
Okay.
chicken choker. And he,
Looking the chicken.
yeah, and he just what I mean, it wasn't doing a heck of a lot to represent Amish people.
No, they don't do. I don't. Well, I mean, maybe they choke their chicken. I don't know. Jeremiah's probably in his bedroom with a candle on. Who knows? Especially when you got a silhouette looking like a pair of tits. I mean, it's the best he's gonna get until he gets married, and that's not good.
Dude, what if there was an Amish daytime talk show that aired grievances between Amish people, and it was hosted by Jerry Rumspringa.
Oh yeah, we should make this happen. Yeah, how much do you think it would take for an Amish person to be on television? I mean, I know they're not really much for technology, but I'm pretty sure somewhere down there in their little hearts, they want to be at least they want a little taste of it. I'm not talking about Rumspringer. I'm not talking about when they're doing that. I'm talking like older generation still in that whole thing. Like I want to see that. I want to see a tag team, the Mennonites versus the Amish. That's what I want to fucking see.
The Mennonites of Columbus.
Yes. The Amish in New York, man. I'll tell you what, like especially in the southern tier in this state, you'll see a lot of Amish people. And to be honest with you, they're really nice. Like, I mean, maybe to my face, but then when I leave, they're probably like these fucking technology people or
They
devils.
call that a beard.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with their haircuts. I understand that they don't use trim clippers and all that stuff, but their
They're
hair,
just
man.
they're just free balling it. They're just free eyeing it. You know what I mean? They're eyeballing it.
You think they groom downstairs? Do you think they no?
Not at all. No, I doubt it.
You think when they take off those dresses and those pants, it's like a fucking full grown 70s forest down there?
Uh, yeah, it's a nation of pubation. There's
Yeah.
all types of uh, grisly sights. I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't think they're using that beard stuff that Jukebox Ginger's advertising for. I don't think they're using that for their pubes or anything, but I
I
mean,
I mean,
maybe.
you have to really question the supply chain of a product like that.
Yeah,
What's getting it to the Amish people?
I know. Well, I mean, I do deliveries and they have deliveries from us, so I don't think it matters if they're not the ones driving the truck or
Okay.
using the computers. I think the products I think are fine. I am questioning though their bathing techniques because sometimes if you walk by them, you may or may not be smelling BO. I mean,
Can we acknowledge real quick that we were on we were on Dylan's podcast with that Sean guy, and he was talking about growing up in Mennonite lifestyle.
yes,
And I automatically was asking about the BO, and I was automatically
you
asking
did.
about. I was like, "Oh man, I've never talked to somebody who's done this, so I have to ask all these questions real quick."
Right, right.
I made it kind of weird real quick.
Hey, well, that's what I do too. I mean, when I have guests on here, the first thing we talk about is dicks and stuff. I mean, that's just that's like an icebreaker. It can be awkward for some people, but that's what this is about here in this studio.
I don't know if I've ever used my dick as an icebreaker.
Oh,
That
no,
could
I'm
hurt.
not saying.
That could
uh,
hurt.
Well, you
The
never know.
ice.
The ice might crack, it might shatter. I don't know, but that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's how you do this. Yeah,
It's just yeah. It seems like it would be too cold, and it would be all shrunk up.
it is cold down here. Oh, I mean, just even now it's chilly. That's why I'm wearing this fucking hoodie.
Yeah, dude, you're all jacking it up.
I'm comfy, man. This is the good times. Um, yeah. So you've wrestled in the ROC, I think you said, right? You've wrestled in Rochester, New York.
I have, yes, I
All
have
right.
wrestled in Rochester, New York.
I know we'll talk about Brody Lee in just a moment because I actually do want to talk about him. But there's a guy. He doesn't wrestle anymore. His name is Eric Emanon. I don't know if you
Hmm.
ever met him or wrestled him or. It's been years since I've talked to him, but yeah, dude, how is he like, man?
I love the guy.
Yeah,
He's
you
my
like
buddy.
him?
I love him. Yeah, he's a sweet kid. He's a sweet kid, and I'm not really enjoying calling him a kid because he's an adult man who has kids,
Yeah,
and
I
his
know, right? It's crazy.
and when I first met him, he was just this little skinny kid. So, but I also knew he came he was teaming with this guy Thomas Brewington, Tommy Brewington, and they were in a team called the IndyCar Mafia for a
Yes,
while.
yes, yeah.
And
IndyCar Mafia. Yep.
Tommy was trained by my friend Ron Starr.
What?
And when Ron Starr was running a show in PA, he brought Tommy and Eric in, and I got to hang out with. It had to have been 2017 was probably the last time I saw him.
Sounds
But
about right.
him and I were texting a bunch recently. So
Oh,
I mean,
really?
yes, yes.
Okay.
So yes, I do know Eric. Yes,
Small world, man. Small world.
yes, we're all in it.
Yeah, like I remember when he had like long hair and stuff, and then he like shaved it all off and just like grew out that beard. And I'm just like, man, he's really going for a different look now because I was so used to him with the long hair and just clean shaven and all that. I think that was when he. I think who was it? Brian Eminon? Is that?
Yeah, I knew Brian. Yeah,
Yeah,
Brian
he
was
was.
Brian. Brian was buff as hell.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
But he, it was funny because that was I say the first night, not just I, but we say TNE, Team New Era, my tag team with Matt Bomboy.
yeah.
Our first night as a team was in Rochester against Eric, not Eric, Brian Eminon, and this dude Trip, and they were called the Spot Monkeys,
Okay.
and it was me, Matt Bomboy, and Cryptic Keegan against the Spot Monkeys and this guy Kaz. I don't remember much else about that guy.
Kaz. That name sounds familiar. Kaz, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that name.
But I don't know anything else about the guy. And
I don't
I
know.
wouldn't even but I remember the funny thing was like when we were trying to call the spots, uh, Brian said to me something like, "Yeah, we're just pretty much going to do a Hardy Boys match or whatever it was." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." It was a whole different world, that Rochester area.
It
Um,
is.
like as far as independent wrestling goes, like their 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 professionalism isn't the same.
Yeah, I've heard some things about that, but I couldn't confirm that or not. So
Right, right, right. Um, um, I I have a couple people that I still talk to from there that I'm friends with. This guy, Tiger Smith. He was up there. His name was Hobie,
okay.
and, he when we went for that show, we stayed at Hobie's house, and he's gonna hate me if he hears this. Uh, we stayed at Hobie's house, and people in Rochester have these weird accents. I'm sure you know it. Uh, so when we
Depends.
when we went into well, I want to say upstate New York. When we went into Hobie's apartment, there was just Batman everywhere.
Oh, really?
The walls, everything covered in Batman. And I know he has like a son, like a young son, and Hobie's wife walks in at the same time as us, and eh, his real name is Adam. She's like, Adam loves comics. His favorite is Batman.
What? She talk like that?
The accent that Adam loves Batman.
Adam. Yeah. No, I don't know, man. I don't really hear that too often.
I just know a few people who have that accent who happen to be from upstate New York.
That's not me. Ah,
Well,
I
at
know
least I
like
know the women that I know who are from upstate New York have that accent.
yeah, I mean I guess I've heard it a few times, but like I never thought much of it. But like I know like so for instance, there's a place called Chili. It's spelled like chili. Or Charlotte. It's spelled like Charlotte. And like things like that. Some people can't like pronounce that stuff, which is funny because to me it's just nothing. It's like everyday thing. Or Irondequoit. People are like, what? They look at that and they go, what does that say? I go, it's Irondequoit. So they're like,
Ronacoy?
it's Irondequoit. It's from the Native Americans and stuff.
Oh.
So like it's pretty dope how many like different towns here are like in that category. But then you go like down to the southern tier and they even have things like there's a town that's spelled like Nunda. And when I first was going to pronounce it, I was going to fucking butcher it and call it Nunda, like none your business. But
Mm-hmm.
no, it's Nunday. I'm like, where the hell does that even come from?
Mm.
How do they come up with these things?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There, there should be like a quiz show about it.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
d- does Rochester have garbage plates? Is that a thing that Rochester has?
Absolutely.
Okay, explain to me what that is.
Garbage plates. All right. So for those of you listening here on this show that have never heard of what a garbage plate is, it could be anything like cheeseburgers, hot dogs. I've seen it with Philly style, and this is a great one. Philly style cheese, Philly style garbage plate. You can get choice of mac salad. You can put beans in there, baked beans. You could put like home fries, French fries. You just mash it all together on a plate, and you the key thing though, here's the key thing, is the meat hot sauce. You gotta have the meat hot sauce. If you don't have the meat hot sauce, you ain't got yourself a garbage plate. Sorry, it's not a real garbage plate. You gotta have the meat hot sauce. That shit is scrumptious and it's addicting. So Nick Tahoe's, they're the original. And there's all kinds of different restaurants out here with their own different concoctions of it. Like some people call it the trash plate, or they got other different names like Bill Gray's, which is a local restaurant here in the ROC. They calls theirs the Great Plate, and then there's Tom Walls that call it the Junker Plate. There's all kinds of like different names. So yeah, garbage plate, man. Have you ever had one?
I think so. I think so. I went to a place that was serving them, and I got something, but I don't really recall what it was because it was so long. It was so long ago.
Yeah, and it's a lot of food, like literally. And what I like to do is get 2 cheeseburgers. I get the French fries, the mac salad. I put that nice meat hot sauce all over it. Smother that shit in mustard, onions. You get all that stuff together. Put some ketchup on there, if you will, and just you dive right in. You dig right in, like you're dining at the Y, and you're just gonna enjoy yourself
It
at
feels like
all time.
heart. It feels like heartburn to me. Like
Well, it
just to
can.
hear, like I get heartburn hearing about it.
Yeah, well, you can. I mean, that hot sauce, depending on who's making it, it might be a little extra spicy, depending. Or you can get yourself a jar of Old Lordy.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's a hot sauce. That's
Oh,
here actually based in the town of Webster.
okay.
So yeah, we got that
We,
all over. I mean, the ladies that make it, scrumptious.
the ladies are scrumptious.
No, well, I mean, they're nice ladies. The one lady that I know, she's a nice lady. Denise, shout out to Denise.
Shout
Yeah,
out to Denise and your hot sauce.
the hot sauce, good hot sauce,
Scrumptious hot sauce. Uh,
always. Brody
so
Lee, man. I want to talk about Brody Lee real quick
please do.
because this yeah, this hit hard. Especially for the fans out here in the ROC, he was hometown hero. So I met the guy a handful of times.
Hmm.
Met him in a place that actually one of the restaurants here. And then I saw him at the bank I go to because he used the same bank. Um yeah, this was a hard one. So what's your thoughts on Brody Lee, man? Like, how do you think he was? Do you think what is his legacy to you?
Um, just a righteous dude, like just a rad dude. Like he was a real cool dude to be around. Anytime I was ever at a show with him, he was always smiling and friendly. And I have a distinct memory of leaving a show and going to a Sheets, and him also being at that Sheets and like coming over and chatting with me and just catching up and being like, "All right, I'm out of here, you jobber." But yeah, just a sweet guy. I don't really have much. I don't have much to say because I don't want to claim like I like know him and that we were ever really friends. But like I
Right.
know I met him a few times. I've been on shows with him, and I hung out with him at a Sheets once.
Yeah. No, yeah, same here, man. I've only met him a few times.
Right.
It was a really pleasant experience. So I was really pushing for him, man, especially when he left WWE, went to AEW, became Brody Lee again. And I was like, dude, this is it, man. This is where he can finally shine. In his last match with Cody Rhodes, thought that was pretty decent. And then shit hit the fan. And
Uh,
I was just like, where is he? They didn't really say anything about it. Actually, they didn't
Uh,
say anything about it at all.
my old roommate, my good friend, many times guest on this show, Ash Samuels, um, also also AKA a different name I won't say, but but he actually gave Brody Lee the name Brody Lee.
Oh,
He's told the story on the show before, but it was more based around, and it wasn't based off of Brody. It wasn't based off of Bruiser Brody or anything. It was based off of the fact that he said he looked like Jason Lee from Mallrats,
ah,
and
okay,
in Mallrats he was Brody, right? Yeah, the main character in Mallrats was Jason Lee's Brody.
yeah. It's been a
I'm
while
a,
since Mallrats.
I'm a massive Kevin Smith fan. That's for sure something
Chibuchis, man.
something that's on my bucket list is to be like principal in a Kevin Smith film.
Yeah,
Uh, I Yeah, dude, that's one. That's definitely one of. I would like. It's weird because I could talk about this kind of stuff when it comes to like entertainment business goals. Uh,
yeah,
so like I ideally see myself as one of the main characters on a hit sitcom. That's like something I've always really wanted to do. I've always wanted to be in a hit sitcom. And I figured out that if I'm in a hit sitcom, I can then tour comedy clubs and say from this show, this guy,
yeah,
and I want mainly to become a draw. I want mainly to become a draw, and I want that draw to be undeniable to every other thing I do. And
yeah,
I say it every single time I get the opportunity to talk on a microphone, but I always say I want somebody to go, "Oh, look at this guy's acting. Look at this guy's comedy. Look at this guy's wrestling. Look at this guy's podcast. Oh, did you know that all those things, like every one of those things, serves the other thing? So discovering the podcast might help you discover that I'm a wrestler. Maybe
right.
being a wrestler helps you discover that you have a podcast, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth, and ricochet it off of every single wall."
It's funny that you say that. So, you know, I don't know. Like within the last year, I've been kind of like thinking, like life, right? Dreams, aspirations, all that shit. And I'll be honest with you, when I was a teenager, I always wanted to be like filmmaker. And so I got on YouTube back in 2005, like the year it started, and me and my friends were just doing stupid, dumb shit. I mean, like a lot of the shit didn't even air on YouTube because it was like, should we put this on the internet? Like the last thing we needed to have was our fucking parents get a nice knock on the door, and there comes the fucking police department or some shit. And there was a couple times where the police did get involved, but we were dumb teenagers. That's what happened.
Mhm.
So, like, with that being said and all that, like, video editing started to be like a more frequent thing, and then like I just wanted to learn more about it. Life happened, about 2010. Just kind of fell off the bandwagon, just stopped doing it, and just kind of let life take over.
Mhm.
Bad decision. Bad decision. Sucks when you start like going away from something you were passionate about. Like, oh, well, guess I got to focus on the real job, right? So at one point in time, and then a lot of people are gonna be surprised maybe if they know me, if they don't already know this. I at one point in time wanted to become a cop, and so I was getting myself ready to do that, putting in applications and all that, and of course down the line, years after the fact, I had a herniated disc, so that threw everything out of the question. I had a little back surgery at the age of 25. Um, you know, just I got a good paying job, so then I started just kind of like going through that, and then eventually, as 30 hit, I'm like, fuck, yeah, what am I doing here? In my opinion, I have at least some type of talent, and I'd like to think so, anyways. But I was like, all right, so what do I want to do? So then I got into podcasting in 2019. I was like, all right, I'm listening to like radio shows and shit. I like different topics. I like talking about different shit. Wrestling, paranormal, hot topics happening today, society, comedy, whatever it is, I love it. And so I was like, all right, this is cool. But then that itch came. I'm like, fuck. I need to get creative again, man. Like I love filmmaking. So now I'm like on this like crusade to like get my talent, like everything back. So that's why I like started this vlog on my new YouTube channel. I'm like, I need to start doing something creative. I love cinematography. I love just like making a vibe, the storytelling. Like I'm still trying to get back into that, the roots of where I started, like being that 14-year-old dipshit doing some dumbass shit, like trying to be like on Jackass, throwing myself into like garbage cans and shit, and like doing dumbass things to like actually making something out of it. So it's funny that you said that, like wanting to do different things and like having them branch off into each other, like podcasts, filming, all that shit. Like, I don't know, man. Like that's why I wanted to do this,
Well,
because it's like a dream of mine, you know?
I think that's a facet as well that I um, I neglected to mention there was like the acting and the filmmaking and and all of that aspect of it. Like all of the stuff I've done as far as like even just like I've done a lot of like background acting and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
just inside of like, oh, let's IMDb this movie and then see this guy who happened to walk around in the background. Like, oh, let's see what fight security guard does with his spare time
Yeah.
and then stumble across the podcast. But
Yeah.
the part that I wanted to mention to you, I wanted to make sure I stated it on the record. Uh, how rad it was to be able to uh, have you spend the currency of your effort and your attention here with me,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I think it's something that isn't appreciated enough. But the thing is, like, the competition for your attention is everything else. And there's so many other things besides chatting with me, or there's so many other things besides listening to me. So anybody who ever listens to anything I've ever done, uh, whether or not it's repetitive and whether or not I talk about the same stuff every single time, uh, the fact that you pay attention enough to know that I say the same stuff all the time. Because the thing is, man, uh, when I'm talking to somebody, it's not always somebody who's listened to all the episodes, who know all the topics I ever talk about. So if a story comes up that's relatable to what we're talking about, and this is what I always say, like, you, whenever I say something that you feel like you could apply it to your life,
Yeah.
take it from me. You can credit me if you want to. If you don't, whatevs. As long as it's as long as it's something that you've got that you can pay forward, and
Yeah.
I think that way about my wrestling matches. I think that way about my comedy. Everything I want there to be some type of takeaways, whether or not you think of me, or if you say something of me, or if you make reference to it being me. As long as that thought crosses your mind and you smile a little bit, whether you say it or not, just the fact that you thought about it. Like, so I always make sure I'm like, oh, make sure if you take nothing else away from this, make sure you take away this. Make sure if you take nothing else away, take away the fact that I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful for all the time that you've chatted with me, and this has been really fun. I have just a couple other things, and then I'll send you off into the sunset with a hot dog and a handshake. Okay.
Yeah.
First, I know I made the joke about it earlier in the show, but I wanted to make sure that I stated those things on the record to you because this is this is gonna continue to exist. Whether or
Yeah.
not either one of us do, this will still exist. So I wanted to say to you on the record that how psyched I was that this is the beginning of our connection and our friendship, but I wanted to also give you the opportunity to say or ask me anything in these few moments. And I know I made the joke about like, oh, let's just act like it's your show right from the start. But for sure, you're wearing the interview hat right now, the interviewer hat right now.
Oh shit. I thought it was a Finley hat. Okay. All right. So that comes natural to me because I've been doing this 3 years.
Mhm.
So it's kind of funny to sit on this side of the room where I'm actually being interviewed and shit. Like, so it's always something that I'm just trying to like humble myself with. Like, okay, I can't be asking too many questions. It's not my show. But no, man, like, I really do appreciate the time you're giving me here, man. Because I've suffered from social anxiety and shit like all my life. So talking wasn't the easiest thing. And to be honest with you, a lot of people that know me know I'm kind of quiet. So when I get behind this microphone, this is where it is, man. Like this is where I'm trying to like get my, it's like a coping thing. So that's also why I got into podcasting and shit.
You want to turn your off mic self into your on mic self?
Well, sometimes, you gotta have something to express yourself with. And I love cracking jokes and shit. I'm always like cracking inappropriate jokes at all different times. So, yeah, I just,
You know what I think about sometimes too? Like when I think about me pre-podcasting, like me who I was in wrestling locker rooms, like way less vulnerable, way less open to discuss things with anybody, and way more on the defense about a lot of things because like nobody did, like people didn't like know me and didn't have the opportunity to do so. And
right.
with this, if somebody really wanted to know who I was, they could comb through some stuff
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
realize and kind of understand a little bit better who I am, and especially like guys who I want to work with in the future. I
Yeah.
want to have conversations with them on the podcast and sort of like see how we can collaborate in ways. So uh, that being said, back to your asking me questions.
Yeah, man. You said you like, so you have an interest in film and all that shit. Like, so that's really awesome because we have a lot of things in common here. We love wrestling, we love film, comedy, all that shit. So, man. So I really want to like get back into film again, right? So like I'm doing the vlogs and all that, which those are fun and all that.
Mhm.
But I really, really want to like get something more going, like maybe even a short film or something. And I've always thought, okay, well, what can I do? Like, I want to do, like, I would love to do comedy. I would love to do horror. I would love to do like suspense. I don't care what it is, to be honest with you, as long as it's like a good story, it makes sense, and it's something that is believable. If you get the
Mhm.
right people to do it, it's going to be spectacular. If you get somebody just because you want to cast somebody in a role, it's going to be absolute shit because
Mhm.
maybe they don't relate to that character that they're supposed to be playing. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is if maybe we can jot some ideas down. Maybe one of these days, kind of collaborate, maybe in person, and maybe make something happen. Because me personally, I want to do something. I have so much creativity going on in my head all the time, 24 hours, 7 days a week. It just, I don't know what other outlet to get it through. So I'm just like, all right, there's so many different ideas. I know that people would love to get involved, I'm sure. So
I am fully at your service on this. This is definitely something I want all the time. More friends that can creatively collaborate with me on any kind of film, TV, comedy, horror, short film, any sort of thing of that way. I'm for it. But even if it comes to any other thing that you're trying to do that you would perhaps want a resource for, that maybe you think I could help you in some way,
yeah,
even if you feel, man, if you feel at any point that uh, you maybe just are alone and need a friend and you need to have some judgment free conversations with somebody, or you need
yeah,
some advice in any way, I'd love to be that resource for you. And I I say it all the time on here, and I truly mean it. And I think that might be why sometimes I repeat some things like a lot. And maybe one day when I'm older, maybe, and I lose my ability to speak, I'll want to go back and be able to listen to what these conversations were, and maybe I'll get sick of hearing me repeat the same shit all the time. But I think that if stuff's important enough,
yeah,
it's got value, and it has the value in repeating it. And if those lessons get picked up, if I'm throwing that powder out and some of it lands on something, then it's worth throwing it out a bunch of times.
absolutely. I know there's times where I catch myself maybe telling the same story on my podcast, but I also keep in mind that maybe somebody else didn't hear it. Like you always have some people that are maybe just checking it out and then they hear the story, but they never heard it before. But then you have your loyal listeners that have heard it and we're like, okay, so they're just going to listen to it again.
Mhm.
Which I've heard it on different radio shows and stuff where somebody still tells the same story. I'm just like, all right, that's cool. I'm not gonna turn them off because it's the same shit I've heard like 10 times. Or I don't. It doesn't
Yeah.
bother me.
Well, like I always say, at least I'm not lying.
Right?
At
Exactly.
least
If you hear the
I'm
story, if you hear the
being
story
honest,
multiple times
and
and
it
it's
hasn't
different every
changed.
time,
Right.
then you know that somebody's bullshitting.
At least I'm being honest.
Right? Exactly. Honesty's key. Like that's one of my main things in life. Respect, honesty, just genuine. Like people that are genuine. Now I definitely get this nice genuine feeling. I love it. That's why I think we have a good thing going here. This conversation's been like I don't even believe it. I can't believe it's been an hour and 15 minutes. Like it doesn't even make sense to me. So like when I have that happen, I'm just like, okay, that was a good show. If
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
guest on here, which I haven't really had, but if I maybe once, I don't even remember if who it was, but maybe once I kept looking at the watch or my clock, and I'm like, oh shit, maybe this is going on a little too long. But
Bro, has that ever happened to you when you're interviewing somebody and it's going in such a way where you're like, this feels like it's been going on forever, and then you look at the clock and you look at the top left of the screen and it says it's only been 30 minutes, and you're like, 'Holy,
minutes,
it's only been 5 minutes, and only
Jesus
been 20 minutes.'
Christ.
Like, I I I'd hate to cut it short just to just to make up for the fact that this guest sucks,
No,
but
I don't think it. No, I've never had anything like that. I think the only time I really had a problem with like, and it wasn't really the guest's fault. It was somebody. It was one of my co-hosts' fault. He was like sitting down here. I'm like, okay, maybe they're just gonna chill and watch the segment or whatever. But now they were like talking and shit and getting loud. And I was like, I had to cut through the interview and say, hey, dude, listen, we're doing an interview. They traveled here to talk to us, and you're gonna like interrupt them by being loud. Like that's disrespectful. You know what I mean? So that was probably the only time I really had a true problem during an interview. But other than that, it was never about the guest. Like I never had a bad guest. And when that day, if that day comes, it's gonna suck. I'm gonna feel like a dick.
bro, can you have me as a guest on your show just so I can tank it?
Yeah, I would love that. I mean, we
I'm gonna
tank it
just
already as it is every
I'm gonna
week.
be like, I refuse to answer that question.
It's
I thought you guys talked to my people. They gave you a
attorney-client
list of
privilege.
stuff that I wasn't gonna discuss.
Oh, we're gonna be talking about the size dildos you like to use. I don't know.
I I I never paid quite attention to the size of them.
No.
No, I don't have
Surf?
any.
Yeah, I can't say I do either, but just saying if you're in the market for one, what would be the first thing to go for? Would it need to be glass? Would it need to be rubber? What color does it need to be? Purple, maybe nice magenta with some green stripes through. I don't fucking know. I'm
Well,
just saying.
you can never go wrong with some purple, in my
No,
opinion, when
no,
it
no.
comes to that.
Well, it's like San Andreas back in the day. They had the purple dildo in there and shit, so you could use that as a weapon.
Well,
Smack a bitch
yeah, yeah,
across.
yeah. That was a big one of the weapons in San Andreas, wasn't it? I thought San Andreas was, look, I'm not a huge video game person, but when it came to the Grand Theft Auto games when they first came out, like
Yeah,
Vice City, San Andreas, and Grand Theft Auto 5 still even, like
yeah,
those are great like time killing games. Like if
yeah.
I just want, I don't want to have to get too invested in the story because I'm not really that good at the missions. I can just walk around in the free world. I love to just walk up to people and just like swing at them real quick
Be some ass.
and like duck out of the way real quick. I love the ducking out of the way thing. I don't know why, but just like going up to somebody and or putting in the invincible cheat for five
Oh yeah,
minutes and just standing there and letting them tire themselves out trying to beat you up.
yeah. No big deal. Yeah, I do love open world games though. Like I like just going through and exploring different parts of the world, even if it's like San Andreas was like California, like Los
Mhm.
Santos is Los Angeles and shit. Like I've never been on the West Coast, so like it's nice to kind of be able to play that game and be like, all right, if I was there, this is what I'd like to see, even if I can go on the
You go there
Hollywood
virtually,
sign
right?
and shit.
The
But like
Vine, what is it called?
Vinewood, yeah,
Vinewood. Uh,
Vinewood.
I found the comedy store in that game.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
and I was like, oh, I found the comedy. I found the San Andreas version of the Comedy Store.
I wish you could go inside, but of course, there's no
Yeah.
interior for that one.
No, there's barely any interior places. Like you can go into some stuff, but you can't go into
But
everything.
the one that Joe Rogan always talks about.
Joe Rogan always talks about the Comedy Store.
Oh yeah,
Or
he's always talking about the Comedy
I
Store.
thought you were talking about the video game that Joe Rogan always talks about. I'm
Oh
like, huh?
no,
I don't
he's always talking
a
about the
video
Comedy Store.
a Comedy Store video game? A Comedy Store video game? Can we
Could you
get it
imagine?
started? Let's get
I
it
would love that.
started right now.
Yeah, you become an up and coming comic, and you tank every night till you
Well,
make it good.
well, like it would be something that it would be so niche. The audience would be such a niche, but it can kind of like the way Guitar Hero taught people how and gave people a passion for learning how to play guitar.
Right.
This could do that for comedy.
See, I played Guitar Hero and I go, man, I'm so fucking glad I never became a guitarist because I would just fucking hate my fingers left and right. I would just hate it because I felt like every time I played that game, my fingers were gonna fall off. Like, god damn, these guys earn their fucking living, man.
I was not good at that game either.
No,
No,
I was
not.
okay, but when it came to like that extra button you had to slide your hand over,
Mm.
I'm like, fuck, man, my pinky wants to kill me, wants to choke me out. Just just grab me around the throat.
Do that the little whammy bar thing.
Yeah, like damn, what the hell, man? We just went to we went to the Straw Museum of Play last month. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's a pretty decent children's museum. But it's I'm a 31-year-old 5-year-old, so I love that shit. But them fucking guitars over there for Guitar Hero are so heavy. Like they do not want people to steal these things. They're like industrial ass guitars for Guitar Hero. I'm like, man, I remember the ones that are like 2 ounces. They could just whirl around and not fucking care. This one here, you whirl that shit around and you clock someone in the head, you're gonna get some murder charges. Not good.
So, I know you've been on lots of podcasts. You've had lots of your own podcasts. You've been guests on lots of podcasts in collaboration with trying to get press or get your show over or something like that. In all the podcast experiences you had, all the podcast appearances you've had, what has been a question that you've always wanted to be asked but never have been asked?
Oh man, I don't know. That's a good one. That's a good question. What would be my question? Oh man, you're putting me on the spot. Damn. Well, what was my inspiration to be a podcaster?
Would that be the question that
I don't
you'd want
know.
to be asked?
I don't know. I'm open to pretty much anything, so I never really thought about that. I don't know. I don't really think too much about what I would want to be asked. But
Well,
like,
what's something about you that you maybe haven't shared with your audience or your public, or what is something that hasn't come out of your voice that you'd want your voice to say?
I'd love to fucking entertain people, that's for sure. Being on a podcast, it limits you to a point. But I think and as time goes on and growth is kind of hard, algorithms and shit, they like to bend you over and ram you in the ass. And I like to throw in some jokes once in a while. Maybe some people don't understand dark humor. Understandable. I know our podcast isn't for everybody. I don't really see 85-year-old Welma watching our podcast as she's eating oatmeal in the morning, listening to us talk about sex and people crashing cars and blood and guts and just sex jokes all together and all that stuff. But but at the end of the day, discussion and all that stuff very important. But at the end of the I can't talk right now. At the end of the day, laughter is key. You know it. Comics know it. I want to entertain people in one way or another. Even with the tongue twist fuck up I just did there. Maybe somebody's getting a laugh at me, like, oh, that fucking guy. But you know what I mean? Like,
So this too. We have to say, if you're gonna love me for the cool things I say, love me for the messes up that I do sometimes too.
hey,
Like
you know what?
can't
It happens.
can't afford you you wavering fans. I want you to be I want you to be unconditionally loving and supporting of me because I would be loving and supporting and unconditionally behind whoever I listen to the most, whoever I like the most, uh, and have that level of grace with like, oh yeah, we're all humans and we sometimes can't say the words that we're trying to say.
Yeah.
I dude beat myself up for a long time. Like I once had I had Todd Glass on the podcast, and
And he
that
shattered.
and that night I listened back to the episode, and I was like, at that point, I don't know if I'll ever listen to another episode of my podcast again. Well, I will eventually, but definitely not on the day of, because that night I was listening to it while I was trying to go to sleep, and I was just going, idiot, 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 because in it in the podcast I was saying and like every 4 seconds, and
Dude. Yeah.
I was beating myself up for it so bad.
So that would be the question, I guess, that I could understand asking. Do you rewatch or listen to your podcast? So, or if you were to ask me that, I'd say yes and no. So yes, because I like to go back and see how it turned out from a listener and viewer's perspective. But
Right.
I also like to go on there because I don't know about you, but well, it's so like what you're doing right now is one on one. Sometimes we'll have four people in this fucking studio just reeling off some bullshit. And I won't catch something as it's happening live. But if I go back and listen, I'll catch somebody's little like joke or like little 5 cents of something ridiculously stupid. And I'll be like, aha, I fucking missed that. How did I miss that? But I
Yeah,
like doing
that's
that.
that's great because like in the wrestling podcast, Wrestle Rock, we were doing it in the studio where it would be sometimes 4 or 5 of us,
Yeah.
and something I say would get like no acknowledgement, and then like later on it would make the clips show of like
Yeah.
previously on the show, and that joke would make it. And I was like, yeah, or it would
That's what
make
you want.
yeah, for sure.
That's what sucks though, is like if you throw in a joke and nobody acknowledges it because they didn't hear it or some shit and it just kind of loses its simmer. You can't say it again because then it loses the glimmer. You know what I'm saying? Like it
Yeah.
loses its spark. You can't go like, hey, did you hear that, guys? I said this joke and be like, no, I didn't hear it. But now everybody's like not laughing, and then the listener's like, what the fuck? He's trying to be funny, but it was supposed to be funny at first, but then they fucked up by not laughing, not acknowledging it.
Did you know that Mitch Hedberg joke where he's like, I was walking with a friend and I said something and he didn't hear me, and then he asked me to repeat it, and by the time we were walking, I was like, that tree that we were talking about is far away. Like it's that's forget it.
Yeah.
That tree is far away.
So is this old lady sitting by me, man. She's far away. Well, she's not too far away.
Do you? Whoa, hello.
Yeah, different camera angle. So that's Joyce. She sits over there during the show.
Okay.
I actually just got that nice Tomb Raider poster from my old gym that just closed down Saturday. One of the most depressing days I had to go through in the recent times. Been there for so long, and then they just closed. So I was like, "Fuck, man, I got to get a piece of this gym." Like, so the guy who owned the place, he's like, "You want something? Take it."
Is that signed?
No, I wish it was. Yeah,
Okay.
that'd have been great, huh?
So it was a World's Gym, right?
Yeah, World's Gym. Yep.
I think I saw the post on your Instagram. So it closed and you took a Tomb Raider poster? Why was there a Tomb Raider poster in a gym?
I don't know, man. He had a whole bunch of stuff, like a lot of like muscle, like bound posters and stuff. Arnold's signed posters. Obviously, he took those. He took
Right.
all those posters that were signed and stuff. But I've been looking at this thing for so long. I'm like, it would make sense. I mean, I don't think a half naked dude, ripped, shredded with muscles and shit, would look good in the studio. But fucking Laura Croft, Tomb Raider, you can't go wrong with that. God damn, you gotta.
You can't.
Angelina Jolie, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. You gotta have her
Peak.
in the studio.
Peak. That's peak.
Yeah. Staring at that for almost 10 years. And I was like, wow, I never thought I'd ever bring that home with me, but here I am. Shit's crazy, man. But
So I do a segment on here that I like to call audio time travel.
Okay.
right? So what I like to do is, uh, since this art, this conversation, this outlet is going to outlive us, but it also, let's say, it encapsulates us into a little time capsule, little time stamp on what's today. So I say, let's imagine that in 2042, 2042, your wife or the people you love the most, your kids, if those ever exist, stumble across this recording. The next words you speak are going directly to them. What are you saying to them?
Uh, well, I just thought about this today too. If you think that you're gonna outgrow your immaturities, and I'm not talking about like stupid things that you learn as you grow older. I'm not talking about being liars and deceitful people like you are when you're 5 years old and you're telling mom that you didn't steal from the cookie jar, but you did. But like the little inside jokes, the little the humor that makes you laugh, the imagination you have inside that makes you you. Embrace it. It will not it will not go out of style. I'm 31 years old, and the jokes and stuff that made me laugh when I was 14, 15 still make me laugh today. Um, I guess bottom line is be yourself. I like to be upfront with things. I don't like any bull crap. I like to just be upfront with stuff. Like if something's bugging me, like I always had problems with like communication, just because and social anxiety is not the best of things for that. But at the end of the day, don't take any crap. Explain and express yourself the best way you can possible, and just ultimately be yourself. Just be genuine, be legitimate. Just not too many people out there like that. But it's just you got to be yourself. That's all I can say, man. Because throughout the years, you might see yourself going, wow, that guy, like for instance, the Undertaker or whatever, right? You look up to this guy, you're like, okay, let's try to be like him. So the next thing you know, you're riding a motorcycle into school and you're wearing a bandana, beating people with biker chains. Don't do that. No, don't do that. Definitely don't do that. But what I'm saying is, don't
You've
ever
done it
model yourself.
now. Gone and
Don't ever
made a
model
big
yourself to be
mistake.
somebody that you're not. Take what you look after as a role model and just build yourself up with that. You know what I mean? I don't know. Trying to be inspiring here, but just some legitimate shit here.
The way we wrap up every episode is, I will ask you, and this is funny because I've already referenced this twice in this episode, but I will ask you, hypothetically, I've gifted you this show, okay, and this has been your pilot episode of Evolving with M-Balm, in a very Jerry Springer's final thought type of way. You wrap
Jerry.
up the takeaways from this episode, and maybe give somebody something that can inspire them to become a better version of themselves tomorrow, as they are today than they are today.
Yeah.
And how would you do that?
Take your vitamins, say your prayers, do one of these. I don't know, man. Just look, if you got aspirations, if you want to do something and you have people telling you that it's all not going to be what you think it is and that you can't do it, you should just go and live in the real world and just forget about your dreams. That's nonsense. Okay. I don't care if you're on YouTube. I don't care if you're making music and you're playing in local shows. I don't really care what it is. I don't care if you're an independent wrestler, if you're an independent filmmaker, independent podcaster. We're not all Joe Rogan, right? Uh, just do it. Even if you're not going to become a multimillionaire celebrity, just do it. Because you know what? You don't want to be like 40, 50 years old and you've worked your most of your life and go, God damn, I did nothing that I actually wanted to do. I've worked my life away all these years. And for what? What are you going to do with that? So, yeah, you made maybe a good living or whatever. Maybe you made some money, you have a house or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you didn't do what you wanted to initially, like that's where I'm at right now. Like I want to just do things that I always wanted to do. Just fucking do it. You know? You want to make a comedy? Go make a comedy. Look at Kevin Smith, man. Look where he's at. That motherfucker dropped out of school, like film school, and he made it. And everybody else that graduated at film school, you don't even know who the fuck they are. They don't exist. So bottom line is do whatever you want to do. Just do whatever makes you tick. Like that's what I love about you, man. You just fucking keep going at it with professional wrestling. You go with comedy. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. Doesn't matter, you know, it's not, and I understand this whole thing is cliche, but it's not always about the destination. It's always about the journey, right? But
Yeah,
there's
I
always
mean,
story to be told.
I I I I intend on continuing to do this podcast for the rest of my life. Because when you stop evolving, you start dying.
Yeah.
So I intend on the part of it that I think is important, is a crucial part of it is calling it evolving with Corey Castle because it's not just called that because I'm the guy who hosts it. It's because if you start listening to it from when I first started it, when I was 33, and at this point I'm 38 now. Like I'm hopefully definitely not anywhere near the person I was when I first started. When I had ideas and pictures of it, I just wanted to make sure that this was kind of the kind of show that I'd want to hear if I wasn't me.
Right.
If I was somebody who was into all the same stuff I'm into and can't really can't really find one show that encompasses all those things, then why not make that show? And that's
Right.
kind of how I feel about any other kind of art that I'm doing. That's why I would feel that way about comedy acts. That's like when we see somebody do a joke as a comic, and you go, "Ah, damn! I wish I wrote that joke. That's such a good joke." That's the same way I feel about having this show. I'd
Right.
heard somebody would listen to this podcast and be like, "Oh man, I definitely would want to listen to this podcast."
Yeah. Well, that's
So
just it, man. It's like the aesthetic and the vibe. So like with the studio, I'm just a light. I'm a sucker for lights. I love lighting. It's just I have so many lights that I want to put in here still, and I already have a lot of lights in here. This fucking thing's so bright it like washes us out when we're doing the show. So I'm like, I'm trying to find another light for that. But like, yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. Like you want to watch, you want to make something that you would want to listen to or watch, right? So
it'd be like I would hope that it would add value to anyone's life who would listen to it, and maybe they would
right,
have quality takeaways uh, per episode that would have mass appeal,
yeah,
and it would be valuable to anybody and everybody who would listen to it. So
yeah,
I just I that's the whole idea behind me having the drum, the whole idea behind me continuing to beat my drum because I'm going to continue doing it. I'm going to continue doing it until everybody starts listening to it. People go, wait, oh, look, there's a little echo on it. Oh, man.
hello, hello, hello.
But, uh, the amount of people who notice that frequency, I think
Yeah,
will be helpful to me.
yeah,
And
consistency, man. You know,
consistency is the key.
so like, you got this nice little setup here, remote guesting. I need to get this going too. I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it yet, but I
Okay.
definitely want to get you and Jukebox and a couple other guests on here. That'd be great if I could do it because I like what you got going on here. I love the colors in the background. Like I'm looking at that and it's enticing. You know what I mean?
Well, uh, honestly, I tell anybody who uh, seems interested that if there's any way I could help inspire you in any way, if I could answer any questions, if I could be any kind of resource for you, I could help you get any kind of guests or help you do anything that's within reason. Eh, And I constantly say, man, my social media is right here on the screen
Yeah.
at Corey Castle everywhere. And I say that with then saying, I am not a hard person to get in contact with. If you want to talk to me, I'm a real person and I'll reply to you.
Yeah.
So the only things I really don't reply to are just heys when people say hey or or if they open up with, "Can you do something for me?" or "Can you do me a favor?" I'm not answering those. I'm leaving
Those
you directly on red forever.
those
And
and those long ass fucking like, oh, you can promote it on this, and they have like all these links and shit. I'm like,
right,
block.
those aren't real people. Those are
No, they're
just
just
bots.
garbage bots. Unfortunately, that's what the world's turning into, is a bunch of fucking robots. Which is why every time I go on the show now, I say the dead walk among us, because it feels like they are, man. It's like the dead walk among us every single day.
There's no room left in hell. The dead
No, there's
will
not.
walk the earth.
That's right.
Do do you have any impressions? Do you do any good impressions?
I do.
What is your best impression?
Oh God, I don't know, man. I mean, I could talk like meat riders from Michael T. and Hunger Force if you want me to talk like meat ride. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like every time I try to get aroused in my world, I just go, "Hey, bro, it's me. I'm getting aroused. I want to get aroused with the captain." And I could like do, Beavis and Butthead was probably one of the most frequent ones I did back in school.
Oh yeah,
Shut up.
everybody had the Beavis and Butthead for
Oh
years.
yeah.
Like I knew kids that were doing Beavis and Butthead that didn't stop doing it. Still have not stopped doing the like that.
Oh
That
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, Butthead. Shut up, butthole. Uh, no way, dumbass. I'm gonna kick your ass. Oh yeah. I want to see you try. Like,
so
you know what I
I
mean? I love doing
I
that shit
asked
with those
I asked
things.
that question to every guest towards the end, and I just asked them if they'll do in whatever their preferred impression is, to say that the tagline and how I close out every episode, which I
Yeah,
usually say, "Be fun, have safe, keep evolving."
yeah.
So in your best, whichever impression you want to choose, say, "Be fun, have safe, keep evolving."
Be fun, have safe, and keep evolving. Like me, boy, because I'm meat ride. Fucking love meat wide.
Anybody who's stuck around this whole time, thanks so much for joining the podcast. If this is your first time checking out the show, really, really super appreciate it. Make sure you hit subscribe, comment below. I want to know you exist, and be fun, have safe, keep evolving.